Imagine growing up and never knowing the world exists outside your fence. No school. No friends. No internet. No truth. Just whatever your parents decide reality is. That is the world of Dogtooth, a Greek film from 2009 that will leave you speechless. 3 young adults live on a beautiful, isolated property in the Greek countryside. There is an oldest daughter, a younger daughter, and a son. They have never left the family estate, not once in their entire lives. Their father drives to work each day at a factory he manages. Their mother stays home, orchestrating every single moment of their existence. From the outside, the house looks peaceful, almost paradise-like. A sparkling pool. Green gardens. A loving family, having dinner together. But something is very, very wrong here. These children, and we call them children, though they are clearly adults, have been taught a language that is not real. The word sea means a large armchair. The word motorway means a very strong wind. Excursion means a type of flooring material. Their parents invented an entire vocabulary to keep the outside world meaningless. If you cannot name something, you cannot want it. If you cannot want it, you can never try to reach it. The father and mother built a prison out of words themselves. The children do not know they are prisoners. They play games together in the garden. They swim in the pool. They exercise. They eat family dinners. They believe that cats are the most dangerous creatures on earth. The parents told them, cats are savage beasts that lurk beyond the fence. They have been trained to drop to the ground and bark if they ever hear a cat nearby. To protect themselves, they say. But of course, it is just another chain. The children earn stickers for good behavior. Enough stickers, and they earn a reward. A toy. A privilege. A small joy. This is how the parents maintain control through a system of tiny incentives. Obedience is rewarded. Questions are punished. The children have learned not to ask too much. They have learned to stay inside the lines because the lines are all they have ever known. But the father has a problem. His son is growing up, and the son has needs. Physical needs the parents cannot simply erase with vocabulary tricks. So the father makes an arrangement. He brings a woman from the factory, a security guard named Christina, to the house. She is paid to visit the son regularly to satisfy those needs. She comes. She performs her role. She leaves. Or at least, that is how it is supposed to work. Christina is the first crack in the wall. She is an outsider. She has seen the real world. She finds the household deeply unsettling. But she keeps coming back because she needs the money. One night, though, Christina makes a decision that changes everything. She looks at the older daughter, this young woman who has never seen a film, never heard pop music, never experienced anything beyond these walls. And Christina feels something. Pity, maybe. Curiosity. A reckless impulse. She gives the older daughter 2 VHS tapes in exchange for favors. The tapes are Rocky and Jaws. Now the older daughter has something. Something secret. Something electric. She watches the tapes alone, hidden from her parents. She sees a world she was never supposed to know existed. She sees Sylvester Stallone punching his way to victory. She sees people running from a great white shark. She begins repeating lines from the films, mimicking characters, performing scenes alone in her room. She does not fully understand what she is watching. But she feels it, deep in her chest, a hunger she has no word for. When Christina returns again, the older daughter wants more. More tapes. More of that outside world. She offers more in exchange. She is learning to barter. To want. To scheme. But Christina's visits are eventually discovered. The father finds the tapes. He is calm at first, terrifyingly calm. He sits Christina down and asks her questions in a flat, quiet voice. And then he does something brutal and cold and deliberate. Christina is beaten. Badly. And then she is never allowed back. The son loses his arrangement. The crack in the wall is sealed. Or so the father believes. But seeds have already been planted. The older daughter cannot watch what she has watched. She cannot feel what she has felt. She begins acting out scenes from Rocky at random moments. She assigns herself the name Bruce, after Bruce Lee, a name she heard somewhere on the tapes. She moves differently now. Thinks differently. Carries herself with a strange new electricity. Her parents notice the change, and it worries them deeply. The family tries to maintain their rituals. There are celebration games where the children compete for stickers and prizes. There are tape-recorded stories about family members who died trying to leave the property. Cousins who wandered past the gate and were never seen again. These stories are meant to terrify the children into compliance. But the older daughter is listening differently now. She is starting to hear the control beneath the comfort. She is starting to feel the walls as walls. There is a moment, a quiet, devastating moment, that captures everything. The older daughter is alone in a room. She is listening to a cassette tape that her mother recorded. A tape that is supposed to teach her new vocabulary words. And as the words play, she mouths along. But something flickers behind her eyes. Something that was not there before. A tiny, dangerous flame called doubt. The father and mother try to redirect the household energy. They stage an elaborate ceremony, an engagement between the son and the younger daughter. This is presented as normal. As beautiful. As a milestone. Because in this house, there is no outside world to define what is normal. The parents are the only authors of reality here. Whatever they say is true, is true. Whatever they say is safe, is safe. Whatever they say is love, is love. And yet, love, real love, cannot be fully scripted. The younger daughter begins to notice her sister's changes too. She watches the older daughter with wide, careful eyes. There is something almost envious in her gaze. Something that asks, what does she know, that I don't? The household dynamic is shifting, slowly, like tectonic plates grinding beneath a calm surface. The eruption is coming. You can feel it in every scene. The father decides that the only solution is to double down. He increases the rewards. He tightens the rules. He introduces a new story, that one day, when the children's dogtooth falls out naturally, only then will they be ready to leave. A dogtooth is a permanent adult tooth. It never falls out on its own. He has invented an exit that can never come. A freedom that is mathematically, biologically impossible. It is perhaps the cruelest thing he does in the entire film. But the older daughter has stopped believing in stories. She goes into the bathroom alone one night. She picks up a small dumbbell. And she knocks out her own tooth. She hits herself in the mouth again and again until the tooth comes free. She is bleeding. She is shaking. But she is smiling. Because she has beaten the game. She has completed the impossible condition. She has, technically, earned her freedom. The scene is horrifying. It is also, strangely triumphant. Because this young woman, raised on lies and controlled language and invented fears, chose pain on her own terms, over a lifetime of comfortable captivity. She chose the truth of her own body, over the fiction of her father's world. She knocked out her own tooth, and with it, she knocked out their power over her. She does not run immediately. She waits. With blood in her mouth and determination in her eyes, she makes a plan. She hides in the trunk of her father's car. The car that goes to the factory every morning. The car that crosses the gate, the only crossing she has ever known. She curls up in the dark of that trunk, and she waits. Morning comes. The father gets in the car. He drives. He passes through the gate. He goes to work, unknowing, unknowing, unknowing. He parks the car at the factory. He goes inside. He does his day. And in that trunk, in that dark metal box, a young woman waits to decide what to do next. The film ends there. We never see what happens. We never know if she gets out of the trunk. We never know if she walks into the world or stays in the dark. And that ending, that unfinished, open, breathless ending, is the whole point. Because freedom is not a destination. It is a door you have to choose to walk through yourself, even when you are terrified. Even when you do not know what is on the other side. Even when the only language you have is the one your captors gave you. Dogtooth is a film about the violence of control. About how love can be weaponized. About how language shapes the borders of our reality. The parents in this film are not cartoon villains. They believe, in their warped, suffocating way, that they are protecting their children. That the world outside is dangerous. That isolation is safety. That control is kindness. And that is what makes it so deeply, deeply chilling. Because we have all met people who speak their own version of reality. Who insist that what they say is simply how things are. Who build walls and call them love. Who limit others and call it protection. Dogtooth just takes that impulse and follows it to its most extreme, most logical, most terrifying conclusion. The performances in this film are extraordinary. The older daughter especially, played by Angeliki Papoulia, carries the entire emotional weight of the story without ever over-explaining. She does not cry dramatically. She does not speechify. She just changes.